I'm scared, Professor Dumbledore.
Everyone is scared of something.
Ridiculous!
A word of warning, Crimes of Grindelwald does not successfully operate as a standalone film. If you're approaching Fantastic Beasts for the first time, I strongly recommend you watch Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them first.
I'm not big on Harry Potter, but I did enjoy the first Fantastic Beasts movie. I remember an entertaining film that had strong messages on environmental conservation issues. This time around in The Crimes of Grindelwald, it's all about family and friendships. But the relationships and character connections are hard to figure out, which holds it back at times.
Keeping with tradition, Crimes of Grindelwald sticks with a gothic-y and dark atmosphere, which I personally really disliked about the latter Harry Potter films. I was more into the colourful and warm visuals applied by Christopher Columbus in the early Harry Potters. They made the films seem generally more family-friendly, however, don't go looking for much of that with The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Join me.
This movie feels heavier. It's hard to work out who it's aimed at. It seems too dark for younger kids who might have enjoyed the first set of Fantastic Beasts and their comical rampaging around New York.
A glimmer of nostalgia came from Jude Law's performance in the role of a young Professor Albus Dumbledore. His early scenes were strongly reminiscent of Richard Harris's early performance as Dumbledore, coming across softly spoken and as a seemingly wise, gentle and powerful wizard. But much like the film, his performance swiftly disintegrated and Jude Law simply became Jude Law.
Address. What's that? A safe house in Paris.
Why would I need a safe house in Paris?
Should things at some point go terribly wrong, it's good to have a place to go. You know, for a cup of tea.
Jude Law's Dumbledore is likeable, but compared to Richard Harris and Michael Gambon, who played the older Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films, he lacks a little oomph.
It was good to see Johnny Depp spending time away from Tim Burton, and while I thought he gave a typically strong Depp performance in the title role of Grindelwald, his screen time was severely limited, and unless you know the Harry Potter world inside out, it's difficult to know what exactly his agenda was.
Their arrogance is a key to our victory.
Johnny Depp's Grindelwald is as slippery as his accent in this film, and you're never quite sure what kind of big bad guy he's trying to play. Most of his dialogue is short and staccato, and even then he doesn't really say a lot, so it's hard to get a sense of him. Depp lacks the gravitas of a good old-fashioned villain that a Brit might have played a little better.
I would have expected the film to have been more fun, but for me, it just didn't hit the mark. There's too much time spent developing the plot, or rather, the plots, which manages to confuse rather than draw you in. Even the Fantastic Beast element of the film seemed lost. While a number of beasts do feature in the film, they contribute very little to the actual story and serve more for comedic effect.
The film is visually striking with beautiful streetscapes of London, Paris and New York. I was less keen on the wand-waving magic battles and the crash-bang-wallop effects, but then they're really not my thing. The costumes are great too, with some nice details to match the 1920s vibe. And the lead women get to wear some glamorous frocks that have a nod to the styling of the recent Bond movies.
Hats off to the special effects team. If you've ever been to Warner Brothers in Leavesden, you'll appreciate how much behind-the-scenes work goes into these films. But even a chipmunk-hamster hybrid riding on a champagne cork couldn't salvage this film for me. If you're a particularly big fan of Harry Potter, by all means, give Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald a go. You'll find plenty of fan-appeasing stuff in there. Otherwise, I would give this one a miss.
The Crimes of Grindelwald is visually stylish and definitely worth a watch for anyone who is a Harry Potter fan. For anyone else, it's worth doing some homework before you go to see it.